Best friends, 17-year-old Josh Long and 15-year-old Troy Driscoll, head off to Sullivan's Island, a popular fishing spot just off the coast of South Carolina.
The weather was great. The part of the beach that we put in was actually very calm.
Josh has only just finished rebuilding the boat. It has no engines or sail and is completely untried at sea.
We actually never used the boat before we put it in the ocean.
What's with the wetsuit?
I know, in case you might want to swim or something. The water's still a little cold.
What are you, a baby?
What you say?
Nothing.
The two boys have fished the waters around Sullivan's Island many times before and have no concerns.
We just plan on being out there, you know, just for a few hours and then going home, you know, and getting ready for school the next day.
You ready?
Yeah.
After 3. 1, 2.
No, wait! I forgot the bait.
Boy, this is a fishing trip.
I just had my cell phone in my pocket, and my dad's real straight about cell phones, and you know, he was paying for mine at the time, and I knew I wasn't gonna mess it up. So I just put it right back in the truck.
You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, boom! Row.
We kind of got an idea of, hey, let's go paddle between those sandbars over there. You know, sharks and fish probably get in the gullies because it's 2 sandbars.
And everything seemed good. We were making good leeway. You know, he was paddling on the front and I was paddling on the back.
I was having fun. I was bouncing up and down.
Wow, man! Whitewater style.
But in their excitement to go fishing, the boys don't check the Coast Guard warnings. There's a powerful riptide forecast for that morning, right in the waters where they're paddling.
And we were almost to the sandbar when we just got hit by the current.
Hey, we're drifting.
I figured it was a joke, you know. So I was enjoying the moment. I was, hey, this is fun, you know, we don't have no control. You know, hey, this is great.
Wow, man!
But, you know, Josh then grew real serious real quick.
No!
What's the matter?
Kurt, we need to get out of here. Go, man, go.
I knew we were in a current, and then I realized that, you know, we were actually going backwards. So, you know, I tried paddling harder.
And the harder we paddle and the more energy we burn, it seemed like we weren't getting nowhere.
The boys are fully caught in the riptide, and it's dragging them away from shore and out to the open ocean.
When I realized how far we went in such short a time, I was like, this thing is really powerful.
Go, keep going.
Still going out!
Right, stop. Stop here. Yeah.
Well, we threw the anchor out, trying to get it to hook onto something, you know.
It wasn't doing its job. I mean, it wasn't anchoring us or holding us in one position. Sure enough, we just kept drifting further out. It was no match for the current.
Paddle, Troy, on.
Oh, Josh, man, my arms.
Come on, Troy.
I don't think it's working.
You know, there's a bunch of people out there running and, you know, jogging and walking.
Hey! Hey! Over here! Hey!
And we were hoping that one of them would have seen us.
We tried to get their attention, but nobody, you know, heard us. We were already that far out.
It's taken just minutes for the boys and their tiny boat to be dragged hundreds of yards out to sea and into serious trouble.
We both talked to each other and saying, we're not going nowhere. this isn't helping. We got to do something different. We got to come up with a different plan.
We gotta do something.
Stay here.
What are you doing?
So I put the top of my wetsuit on, I put my fins on, and I started swimming.
Josh's plan is to swim to the sandbar with the anchor rope and then pull the boat to safety. In a panic, Troy also tries to swim for the sandbar, but straight away feels the force of the current.
John! John!
I was almost there, and then I look back and see Troy struggling.
Feels like something's trying to just pull me under. You know, I just feel all my energy being sucked out of my body. And once you run out of energy and you can't swim against it, it has no mercy. I mean, it's gonna kill you regardless if you like it or not. I just told Josh I can't do it.
I went under again!
We were being pulled out to sea at a very fast pace, and couldn't do anything about it.
Just 20 minutes after setting off on an innocent fishing trip, the two schoolboys' day out is going badly wrong as they're dragged out into the Atlantic Ocean. Alone in a tiny boat, they have no water, food, or mobile phones. And their ordeal has only just begun.
Come on, man. Give me my new rod.
Right as I got the full rigged up and I stood up to cast it, a wave hit the side of the boat and knocked me over, and I knocked over my brand new fishing pole in the water.
No, my new pole! No!
He lost his brand new pole, and that really ticked him off a lot, and he pretty much lost it.
Stupid fishing trip! My new rod!
Everything I did was getting, screwed somehow that day. It was definitely one of my temper tantrums.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Cool it, man. Yeah, this isn't gonna help, is it?
Shut up, man.
I knew he lost the fishing pole, but that was the least of my worries. I was like, hey man, listen, this isn't what we need to do right now. You don't need to be cussing. You don't need to be throwing stuff. We need to be here as a team. We came in it together, and we were gonna go out together.
Crazy, man. You're losing your mind on me.
Sorry, man.
Crazy.
Out on the ocean, the two boys are still drifting in their tiny boat. Alone, they face their first night out at sea, in the middle of a storm.
The first night, I barely slept. We were very, very cold.
Strong waves begin to batter the tiny boat, and the temperature plummets to below freezing.
It's coming in too fast.
We're all right. We're all right.
When a wave would come, it would pull that side of the boat down and water would come over.
Come on.
It felt like ice hitting you. All in all, we were, freezing to death.
So I keep moving. Keep moving, okay?
Couldn't feel our hands. We were shivering. We pretty much, we had to cuddle with each other, just for body heat. It was that bad.
Suffering the extreme nighttime cold makes the boys realize just how much peril they're in. Panic turns to terror as they face up to the reality that their lives are in real danger.
The first night was filled with a lot of emotion. Our mood you know, went from being, okay, we're gonna get rescued to, okay, you know, why are we still here? There should have been a boat, there should have been a helicopter, you know, what's going on?
You know, when we looked out that morning, there was nothing. We realized that we were, you know, so far off that we were gonna, you know, the land was now out of the option.
I did a 360 as I twisted around and saw nothing but waves and ocean, and there's nowhere to go.
After a night shivering in freezing temperatures, Josh and Troy now endure over 23 degrees of relentless heat.
We had no shade. Anybody who knows, you know, who's been in salt water and their clothes dry after being wet, it's really crusty, salty. It was wear and tear on our skin.
Every so often, I would get in the water. Just basically cool off in the water.
You know, we swim around. It got our mind off of the situation.
So cool!
Oh, yeah.
But the boys are swimming in waters notorious for sharks.
All of a sudden, we look down, and there's a shark that raced up and hit the boat.
The boys realize their predicament with seconds to spare.
And we looked down, and the water was so clear, there was a shark. It was a good size. It was about 7, 8 feet. There's a few of them just circling under our boat. So we were like, you know, that's it. We're not jumping in no more.
Back on shore, Josh's father receives dramatic news from the Coast Guard.
Hello? Hi.
We got a call, I believe it was around 10:30, telling me they had found Joshua's car.
Well, where was it? Sullivan's Island, but...
And then my heart immediately dropped. I knew they were on the ocean, my worst fear.
Right, yeah, I'll meet you there. Okay.
The Coast Guard has been searching for the boys' truck and has found it right on the ocean's edge.
I drove right past them. We need the key, sir.
Sure, sir.
They opened up the glove box, they found both their cell phones and their wallets.
Knowing where the boys entered the water, the Coast Guard is now able to mount a full-scale search.
A church down the street had opened their doors, and they allowed us to come into their recreation center, and we pretty much started to congregate there. The press started to show up, all of their friends started to show up, people from around the community. I mean, it was literally hundreds of people started to show up at this church.
Now, we have people on land. We have boats in the water.
How do you know they're actually in this area?
Sir, let me show you. Okay, what we've done is we've taken our computer models and we calculate that the boat could not have gone any further than here.
I was concerned, but I was very confident that that day we would find them. That, you know, with all this effort, with all these planes, with all the helos out there, that we were going to find these boys that day. I just almost had no doubt that they were going to be found that day.
So Troy and I decided, hey, well, we'll gargle it and spit it back out. And that way you have something wet in your mouth, and you know, it'll kind of, it's cold, so it'll help us a little bit, but we won't swallow it.
It wasn't good, but just have something cold in your mouth. That's all we needed.
The boys know that drinking the salty seawater will dehydrate them even further. But they're now so desperate, they find it impossible to resist.
It was horrible. I mean, it's a bad day when you know that's the only thing you have to drink. But what you're drinking's killing you and hurting you.
Weakened by dehydration, the boys are also suffering extremes of weather. Nighttime brings another severe drop in temperature. And with no protection against the biting cold, the boys have only each other's body heat to keep themselves warm.
We got to stay up. We got to keep ourselves dry. Let's cuddle. Let's talk to each other. Let's communicate. Let's make sure we're okay.
Stay with me. Talking, man.
We both, looked at each other, and we were very, very sad, very nervous, very scared.
We were both trying to doze off, and I fell asleep, and he was already asleep. And next thing I wake up to a sound of an engine.
The boys have been woken by a huge cargo ship heading directly towards them.
Troy, wake up!
I've never been close to something that big. It was stories upon stories high. At the same time, it was so close, it seemed like I could touch it.
Hey! Hey! Stop! Stop! Stop!
Just as the boys had given up all hope of being rescued, it seems help has finally arrived.
Stop!
But the enormous ship doesn't stop and is now about to run over them.
Come on! Hold on!
Incredibly, the swell of the ship pushes the boys just out of its path and saves them from almost certain death.
Come back! Come back!
They can only watch as their final hope of being rescued disappears into the night.
If they're not going to rescue us, we're only feet away from them. They're definitely not going to rescue us when we're, a couple hundred or 1,000 feet away. It just wasn't going to happen. We were simply a needle in a haystack.
The boys have now been out at sea for over 5 days, and with no food or water, are in the most extreme stage of dehydration. They've lost pints of water, over 20% of their body fluids. Their vital organs are shutting down, and they're drifting in and out of consciousness. Few people ever survive this long without water.
My body hurts.
I didn't want to be there no more. I didn't want to be out in the middle of the water. I was suffering, and it was a slow death. I was ready to go home to God.
Stop! Stop it! I can't take this anymore. Come on. Stop it, buddy. All right?
Even though Josh tries to stay strong for his younger friend, he's also battling his own demons.
Josh? Josh? Josh?
We didn't believe in suicide, but I was just swimming in the water. I just was like, if I went down as deep as I can go, You know, I swam down probably about 35, 40 feet.
Josh! Josh!
If a shark grabs me, don't try to save me. I was like, just let him eat me. I'm not gonna put up a fight. And then I thought, you know, what I might lose, you know, what I'm missing out as far as growing up and how my family's gonna move on without me. All those emotions run through your head.
Josh! 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 What are you doing?
I came back to the surface and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let God go when He wants to, because I can't do it.
When we get back, I get to work in my truck. So when you're 16, I teach you to drive.
Towards the end of the week, you could tell he was starting to get real weak. He really had nothing left in him. He didn't want to hardly move. Basically, I keep trying to wake him up because I thought, you know, I really didn't want him to die.
Trot.
I didn't want to be in the boat no more. I want to be dead. I just simply asked Josh to kill me.
You killed me, William. Stab me, put an end to
You're
this,
talking
please.
crazy talk.
I'm done.
I can't. I can't do it, man, never.
Troy asked me if I would stab him. And I just told him that there's no way I could do that. Because if Troy had died, I wouldn't be able to come home, even if they did find us. Because I couldn't go home and tell his parents that I let their baby boy die.
Come on.
Troy has now completely lost the will to live. His best friend won't kill him, so he tries one last desperate attempt to put an end to the ordeal.
Every night you'd see like little glow-in-the-dark little balls, and they're called jelly balls.
Troy now sees the jelly balls as not only something to eat, but a possible way out.
If it's poisonous, you know, and it kills me, hopefully I die a peaceful, you know, a peaceful death. I wasn't just gonna eat a little bit and get real sick and suffer even more. I was gonna eat a lot, and if they were poisonous, you know, I was gonna go out on the first hit.
But the jelly balls have no effect, and now the boys can do nothing but await a slow, agonizing death.
We pretty much realized that we were just waiting on to die. We didn't know how much longer we'd be alive.
The two schoolboys are staring into the abyss. They'd given up on life and can do no more than await death's final call.
Josh, I hear something.
Well, as me and Josh laid in the boat, I heard the roar of a boat again.
It's getting louder. Looks like it is you. It's getting closer.
I see this huge fishing boat coming straight at us. So at that time, I, you know, jerked Josh. I was like, you gotta get up.
Josh, help us! Hey, help me! Help us! Please, help us!
I was crying, but at the same time, it was like I wasn't crying because I had nothing to cry. I was just screaming, hey, please help us. Please, we need help.
Over here! Help! Come on! Over here, please!
The two boys are just a speck in the ocean. But unlike the boats on previous days, this time they'd been spotted.
So basically, we knew they saw us. We kind of just started, like, you know, basically just gave each other a huge hug, and we're like, this is a miracle, you know. I can't believe we're actually getting saved.
Come on, guys.
The captain reached over and, you know, pulled me up because I barely had any energy to get up. And, you know, I flopped on the deck.
Need some water. Any water? Get you up here. You okay? You okay?
I couldn't understand them because they were whining, whimpering, happy, sad, the whole 9 yards. But one of the first things that Troy said to me, he asked me if I believe in God. And I said, well, yeah, I guess I do now. Because miracles happen.
Some water with you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Got you, man. You're safe now. You're safe. Yeah. Better now, huh? Patch me through to the Coast Guard.
The guys have delayed the day's jump until the afternoon. There's been a storm in the morning, but by lunchtime, the skies have cleared.
Cloud's gonna blow over.
It was sunny, you know, some white clouds, but nothing stormy. Minus the intermittent clouds, things that day looked like they would be just the same as the day before.
Hey, Bradley. What's up, buddy?
So we all started getting our rigs together and getting our gear on to get ready to go skydiving.
Yeah, good to go. Ready? Let's go, Jimmy, baby.
The plane we flew down there was a Cessna 206. It was a small airplane, smaller than probably most cars.
All right, my man.
Planes for skydiving are generally, they'll take out the seats. So it's basically an open compartment in the back, and we'll sit back to leg, you know, so kind of sit in a row so that we're packed in there nice and tight, you know.
Okay, blue skies, safe landing.
Fire up, baby. Here, up. Ready? Yeah.
Nervous, man? You look nervous. A little bit.
The atmosphere on board is light-hearted.
I was there.
But as the plane climbs, the weather begins to close in.
We were expecting at some point to come out above the clouds, but we just never did.
With no break in the clouds in sight, the guys decide to turn back.
Okay, guys. It's too thick.
It's just not worth taking the risk.
We were a little disappointed, but we all skydive a lot, so it wasn't a big deal, you know, we'd get over it. We're used to clouds, and, you know, you don't jump through clouds generally, so it was fine.
But as the plane turns and makes its way back to base, they hit serious trouble.
Within 20 seconds after we started going into minor turbulence,
God, I hate this car.
it just got worse and worse.
Okay.
Then the plane started going into massive turbulence. I was definitely not a happy camper, you know. I didn't want to be in a little tiny plane flying crazily all over the sky.
No.
Seconds later, the plane begins to lose control.
The plane is just going haywire. It even started to tilt. I was on the ceiling, I was on the floor, I was on the ceiling, I was on the floor. I was frightened. At that point, there wasn't much we could do except ride it out or jump out.
Let's get the ladder.
With the plane now hurtling towards Earth,
Open up the hatch.
Will and his friends have no option but to take drastic emergency action.
And at that point, we all started going for the door, trying to get it up. It was the only thing we could do. took us 4 tries to get the door open because we were being thrown about the airplane so much.
Despite not knowing how high they are and if they have enough time to parachute properly, they dive into the void.
Once that door was open, my butt was out of that airplane. I did not want to be there. I knew that. I trust my skydiving equipment. I trust my parachute, and I did not trust that airplane at that point. I just got out. 5 to 8 seconds later, my automatic parachute went off, which means I was going at a very fast velocity at about 700 feet. We were very low in very low cloud cover, and it was a shock to me. At that point, I looked around for my friends. I saw Jimmy under his canopy as well, going the other way quite a distance off, and Manny was under his canopy next to me, flying parallel to me.
Will is desperate to know that his old friend, Manny, is okay.
I kept calling out to him to try and get his attention so that we were coordinated on landing. But he never answered. And he was just kind of limp, you know, his head was hanging down, and my assumption at that point was that he got hit by the airplane coming out. It occurred to me that he might be dead.
Just seconds after jumping, Will is now hurtling towards Earth at 40 miles an hour, with absolutely no idea where he might land.
The plane crashed in the water behind me, and I looked back and saw the tail of the plane sticking out of the water. I was in somewhat shock at that point.
Will has hit the ocean, still attached to his parachute rig, and he must act fast to avoid drowning.
If you land in water, you want to get your chest strap off so that you can take your gear off immediately and swim under the parachute. At that point, it was really about focus and trying to do the right thing, so if there's a chance of survival, that you survive. It took me 2 or 3 minutes, and that was a pretty scary feeling because you can actually get tangled up in the lines and drown.
On surfacing, Will's first thoughts of his friends. They've also dived out of the plane. One of them, Manny, seemed in serious trouble.
I removed my shirt and my shoes because I wanted to be able to freely swim over and find Manny. I felt the need to act fast because if Manny was unconscious, then it was important to get to him and keep his head out of the water.
Manny! Manny!
He wasn't answering me. I didn't see his parachute. I didn't see anything.
Manny! Is there anybody there? Don't worry.
So I swam around toward where I thought he would have landed. I didn't even see a lick of him.
With his friends gone, Will quickly has to face up to his complete isolation.
Hello?
I accepted the fact that I was alone in a pair of shorts in the middle of the ocean. There was nothing. The plane went under. I saw no parachutes, no Jimmy, no Manny, no nothing, except ocean.
Stranded miles out in the Pacific Ocean, Will is overcome with a feeling of complete hopelessness. And he can see no way out.
which is why I decided that being eaten would be a much better option.
Come on! You hungry? Ah! Come and get it, come on!
But the sharks don't come, and Will begins to take stock of his predicament.
If I'd been off the coast of the States, there would be Coast Guard and other boats looking for me within a short period of time, but this was a third world country. So I thought, you know, don't be a spoiled American and think there's going to be a boat coming to get you. You have to survive this or not.
Let's just enjoy the view.
Alone in the ocean, with night fast approaching, Will decides to fight back.
I started to have to make decisions about what exactly I was going to do. I had to do something. I didn't want to expend all my energy treading water when I knew that if I just laid back, I could float. The most important thing out there was retaining calm and not panicking, because panic I knew would kill me. Staying calm, and that required a faculty that was born anew in myself that I think I've certainly never experienced before.
Out in the ocean, Will has been struggling to stay afloat for 5 hours. His muscles are drawing on emergency reserves of adrenaline. He's beginning to suffer acute exhaustion, and he's in complete darkness.
I could scarcely see my hand in front of my face. It felt like I was in a dark, dark place, a dark world that was very isolating. I don't think that I've ever felt more vulnerable.
But as he drifts alone in the dark, Will suddenly gets his first ray of hope.
I saw 5 or 6 lights spaced out across the land. I had no idea how far they were. I knew they were lights and therefore human, and I was pretty convinced that was where the land was.
It's the glimmer of hope he's been waiting for, and Will makes for the shore.
I had to go slow, calm, collected, cool. I would do maybe 20 to 30 backstrokes and then stop. It was a great thing I knew where the land was.
Just as safety seems within reach, the undercurrents begin to pull him further out, back to the ocean, and back into the night.
I was exhausted. I was just exhausted. I saw no actual possibility of me getting out of the ocean alive.
Out at sea, Will's been in the ocean for 9 hours. The water temperature has dropped to 45 degrees. He's rapidly losing body heat and dehydrating even further from the effects of swallowing seawater.
And as soon as it got to be night, the swells were getting bigger, it was colder, and I was getting more water in my mouth, which I knew eventually over time could be responsible for taking my life.
No search has been mounted, and he's fast running out of hope.
I saw no boats. It was dark. I didn't think there was any way I was going to last overnight in the ocean. No boats, no planes. I'm dead, man. I don't think that I've ever felt more vulnerable. My life, my essence of actually the physical life anyway, was teetering on an edge.
Just when it seems things can get no worse, Will comes under attack from beneath the water.
I realized that I was in a school of jellyfish, and they were stinging me all over my back.
Jellyfish tentacles contain thousands of tiny needle-like filaments that deliver small doses of venom just below the skin.
The pain was excruciating. It was all over my back, my legs, my feet, everywhere. It was extremely painful.
The jellyfish is stinging Will's skin, leaving welts and bleeding sores. The salt water stings him relentlessly.
It was excruciatingly painful. I was crying. I mean, it hurt so badly.
Will desperately tries to escape the jellyfish.
I swam faster to swim out of the school.
But he just keeps swimming into yet another school.
I was, taken aback by the amount of times I was stung by the jellyfish. My God, how much worse can this get?
Come on!
It was excruciating.
The relentless stinging causes Will's mind to wander. What else is in the water, waiting to attack him?
Sharks hunt at night, and do I splash around until a shark comes and eats me? It seemed a horror. It seemed...
And then his worst fears become real. There is something in the water, and it's heading straight for him.
I saw something floating in the water. And be it shock, I don't know, but I thought, oh, it's crocodile.
As it moves closer, Will is about to find out if a deadly nighttime predator is about to get him.
Thought, oh, great, I'll get eaten and drowned at the same time. I had no idea how far out saltwater crocodiles would swim, and this was too elongated to be a turtle. So I thought, oh, it's crocodile. I laughed, because who would think a log, a tree, is in the middle of the ocean? I was amazed.
After 10 hours in the water, the floating log is a lifeline for Will. His first lucky break since his ordeal began.
I put my arms over it and I floated with it, and was much more thankful to have something to float on rather than just my belly. It gave me a lot of hope that I didn't have before, maybe some chance that this was going to end positively.
News of the accident reaches Will's skydiving club in California.
Giles Fabris here from the club. I know it's late.
His friends fear the worst.
Will's plane's gone missing in Costa Rica.
The first thing I did was the difficult task of contacting relatives and loved ones of the missing. That was one of the most difficult tasks I think I've ever had to do.
Even though they're 3,000 miles away, they do all they can to help.
Your friends have crashed in a plane, it's in a foreign country. The first thing you do is to try and collect as much information on what's actually happening. I had an image of my friends being in the water and their life slipping away in the darkness. That was a very difficult thing to have to think about.
Then they hear that the air-sea rescue operation won't start until daylight.
I don't think anyone's organising a search of the coastline, so we're going to do it, okay?
From their base in California, They try to do all they can to help.
Get in touch with as many boat captains as possible. Okay?
We decided that we would start calling fishing boats, calling charter boats in Costa Rica, and to ask them whether they would send their boats out to look for our friends.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
At least I got one boat out.
He begins to say goodbye to the family and friends he thinks he will never see again.
I felt alone from other humans. I felt that I'd left, you know, the other humans, the other people in my life behind. That part of my existence was over, and that I was going to die, and, you know, that I hoped that I'd done well in life, that I'd shown compassion and kindness to people, you know, and that they felt that love, you know. They say that your life flashes before your eyes when you're about to die. And very similar to the night before, I thought that death was imminent and very, very close. I felt that I'd left the other people in my life behind. That part of my existence was over, and that within a very few minutes I would be dead. I went vertical and I thought I saw a boat, but I was by no way sure. My mind was not together any longer. I was hallucinating heavily at that point. Either a boat was there or there wasn't.
Focus well. Focus well. Focus. Breathe. Hello!
I waved to them and yelled in Spanish as loud as I could.
Hello! Hello!
For them to have seen me was unlikely, so I laid back down in the water to await either drowning or rescue.
Having used up his last scrap of energy to wave at the boat, Will collapses in the water and awaits his fate.
I looked up and saw them, and I couldn't believe it at first.
Will has drifted miles from the search area, and by complete chance, he's finally spotted by passing fishermen. He's so close to giving up. His rescues come in the nick of time.
They said, "Come on, get on the boat." And I said, "I can't." I had no strength, you know? And they all reached down, and it was just, I think, as much in shock as I was when the plane crashed.
Oh my God.
I just couldn't believe it, you know? It crashed in the middle of the ocean, and my fat, pasty butt made it through 24 hours in the ocean.
When I found out Will was alive, that brought a lot of joy.
Hey, guys. Guys, come here. It's him, look. It's Will. He made it.
Yeah.
He made it.
Yeah. Awesome. Come on.
See? How did you do that? Oh, look.
He didn't just survive the crash, he survived the crash and he survived the bloody ocean.
I just literally said, "Oh my God, I'm invincible." And I collapsed onto the boat and held onto this guy's leg until we got to shore. Unfortunately, the search and rescue operation was looking in the wrong places. There were some Costa Ricans that were looking in the mountains. Others were looking in different parts of the ocean. So when they found me, they had a better idea of where my friends were going to be.
a report was made that there were more survivors found. As it turned out, that was misinterpreted information on the radio, and that there were no survivors found.
Over the next few days, the bodies and plane wreckage are pulled from the ocean. Will's friends, Manny Sanchez and Jimmy Simplicio, along with the pilot and remaining passengers, all perished in the crash. Will is confirmed as the only survivor.
Manny was this amazing, almost cartoonish, almost childlike, beautiful human being.